Good morning, baseball fans across the Southeastern Conference. This is Mitch Davis, co-host of the Hit It To Hoover podcast, bringing you a very special edition, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to interview the legendary former LSU baseball national champion, Hall of Fame college baseball coach, a man that needs no introduction, head coach Skip Bertman himself will be joining me momentarily to talk LSU baseball, to talk about his legacy in college baseball, and just spend some time diving into what makes college baseball so great. Again, I'm the co-host of the Hit It To Hoover podcast, Mitch Davis. My co-host, Jake Nichols, was unable to attend this interview, so he sent in a couple questions, but what an opportunity it was, and an amazing just chance to sit down with a college baseball legend that I hope you, the Hit It To Hoover fans, will enjoy as we get closer to celebrating the beauty and the amazingness of SEC baseball down there at the Hoover Met. It's going to be wonderful. The entire Hit It To Hoover crew will be down there broadcasting all week from Hoover, Alabama, talking SEC baseball. But at this time, I would like to welcome the legendary Skip Bertman to the Hit It To Hoover podcast. I am joined now by a man that in the South needs no introduction, a man that has done so much for the game of college baseball and LSU baseball. Head coach, former head coach, legendary national champion, Coach Skip Bertman. Welcome to the Hit It To Hoover podcast. Such an honor to have you on. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing very well, thank you.
Coach,
thank you.
This is such a treat, and I just want to ask you, how are things in Baton Rouge right now for you?
Oh, well, everything's fine. I haven't coached about 20 years, but I do enjoy watching LSU when they play baseball. I go to all the games, know the kids, and that's fine. But we got a great coach in Jay Johnson right now.
Coach, I want to ask you about Coach Johnson. Obviously, following in your footsteps, following in Paul Maneri's footsteps is no easy feat. But it really seems like LSU has found the right guy in head coach Jay Johnson. Talk about him, and what do you expect to see out of him with this LSU baseball program?
No doubt about it. He's a good one. Number one, he's a hard worker, and you don't see that in every baseball coach. The drills take him, a long time. He practices harder than most of the opponents practice. And then, of course, he's a good game coach. When the game begins, he can change the pitchers at the right time and so on. And he inherited what was here, and he's very proud of all the boys and proud of the stadium in Baton Rouge and loves to be here. But he doesn't have his team yet. And next year, he has number one recruiting class in the country. So he should get, some, even if he loses some to the draft, he'll get some. And the team has most of the people now coming back. And I think he'll do real well.
Coach, you've been around the game of baseball for a very long time. Obviously, you were an athletic director as well. Coach, I want to ask you about the changes of college baseball. How are they different from when you were a coach 20 years ago?
Well, 20 years ago, when I was coaching, we didn't have 4 umpires. Now the 4 umpires are really good. In the 80s and even in the 90s, the umpires weren't outstanding and trained the way they are now. That's one difference. What is difference for LSU, but what is a difference for all our opponents when we go to their ball yards? They have 10,000 fans. or 12,000 or even 13,000. It's just unbelievable how other teams have really gotten into it. Every team has a $50+ million stadium except Missouri, which of course has weather problems. But all the rest is just unbelievable what they've done in baseball. So I'm very proud of the changes. You know, more hits, better pitching. The kids are bigger, stronger, but they're still great. I think they all come from the same place. These, a select game for a travel team, and there might be 16 teams or whatever. And the coach goes to pick, and LSU gets 4, and Mississippi State gets 4, and Mississippi gets 4. You know, you can't get them all. There's just not enough scholarship made, and in the position they play may come into play as well.
Coach, obviously, things are changing ever so fast, but NIL deals and, different scholarship reductions and all, and the third assistant coach being, hopefully paid here in the future. What are some of those impacts on the game of college baseball now that you guys didn't have to deal with 25 years ago?
Well, there's, a limit number of baseball players you can have, 35. This year they were allowed 40 because of COVID, but they'll get back 35. They have 11.7 scholarships. That hasn't changed. And you just can't. You can only take care of 27 people with a minimum of 25%. So it's very tough. But that has to do with gender equity. Yeah, if they did something for baseball, they'd have to do something for softball or some other team. I would say the stadiums are beautiful. The crowds are wonderful. I'm glad. I'm very proud to be part of people that got that off. And I'm proud of what I see by the players. There's better players. There's so many that the teams are very even. When I played, it wasn't like that. You had to go out and get this player. There were no tournaments to recruit from. And the signing day was April 15th, which is so stupid because some teams haven't even played yet. And very difficult, but you found out from baseball scouts or other people who they were. And I took more junior college kids. I think today you can take, most freshmen, which is much better. The transfer portal is, baseball will have a lot of kids transfer. After a year of not playing, they may go to another school to play. They don't need anybody's okay, except for the, new coach that they're going to play for. Money could be involved because of NIL, the licensing of the kids. So it's possible that they can get more than the scholarship aid because of the new rule of allowing them to be on television or sell their shirt and get money for that. So I'm glad I'm not a part of having to cut the 36th kid. I took everybody that wanted to play, and although whether they could play or not, we practiced with them and they treated them well.
Coach, I want to ask you about your time at LSU, and I've got a couple questions regarding that. We'll wrap it up, Coach. But I want to ask you about those trips out to Rosenblatt Stadium. Obviously, it's now TD Ameritrade. It's got a beautiful new ballpark, but those Rosenblatt days, LSU fans took over Omaha. It was a rite of passage as as I think you said in the SEC Network documentary about your teams hold that rope. But Coach, I want to ask you about Rosenblatt Stadium and how important was that not only to you but to the LSU faithful?
We loved Omaha. We were there a lot. I was there a lot before I coached, at LSU. Rosenblatt's great. The old stadium was fun, but it was tough on the fans. They needed a new stadium, and they finally gave in. The new stadium doesn't hold any more than the old stadium, but it's much more comfortable for the fans. The players have better locker rooms. I think it's better for the players. I think they're doing a great job. And, as they say, in a 20-year period, baseball's going from being a sport that nobody cares about to one of the most popular sports in the program. But you got to be in a Sun Belt state, to get the kids. And that's not true for basketball or football. And that's a big difference.
Coach, looking back on your career, obviously you've had a lot of great memories, throughout college baseball, not just at LSU, but at all your stops. But Coach, I want to ask you, what has been one or two of your favorite memories coaching college baseball?
I've been asked that question a lot. And it's hard to pick any one time. And people say, well, Warren Morris's home run in the bottom of the ninth to win the championship, must be the best. Everybody here seems to know where they were at the time he hit that home run. And he's the only one that's ever done that. In the 50-plus years, of the World Series. And he probably would be the only one in 50 more. A very unique way to win the championship. So naturally, that's a great memory. But other than that, all the other championships, all the other players, I just enjoyed the players. That was fun. I miss them most in not coaching. I miss the player, but I don't miss the recruiting, and I don't miss the bus rides. I don't miss the losses that we had. But it's great. I'm glad that Jay is there. Paul did a great job, and now Jay is going to do the same.
Coach, two more questions I have for you, and we'll wrap it up. This next question, I want to ask you, what has LSU meant to you personally and your family? Obviously, you are the grandfather of LSU baseball. I mean, you are the man that when we look back on SEC baseball, we look back on LSU baseball, you're that guy, Coach, that your name is brought up in the conversations with, Ron Polk and various other names around the sport. And obviously, Coach, we appreciate you, but what has LSU baseball and LSU meant to you and your family?
I'll tell you, it's a Baton Rouge and LSU, great place to go to college. The kids that came with Jay Johnson from, say, Arizona, there were three of those kids, and other transfers in. I've asked them how they like it. They love school here. They love being at LSU. They love the way baseball is treated here at LSU. So my wife and I, my kids, grandkids, they love it here in Baton Rouge. They love LSU. I think it's a great university in a great city, which of course is the capital of Baton Rouge, the capital of Louisiana. And it's wonderful. They're great people. It's hard to explain. They're so friendly and nice. That's how it happened in Omaha. People from Omaha loved the people from Baton Rouge. And next thing you know, there was jambalaya in Omaha. And the people visiting from Omaha come down here to stay with some people. That was a great ride. It was a great ride.
Coach, last question I have for you, and this is a personal question that has been weighing on my mind since when we first talked back in February. Coach, I want to ask you, when it's all said and done and you're no longer attending baseball game, no longer able to attend LSU sporting events, what do you want your lasting legacy to be, not only at LSU but on the sport of college baseball?
That too is a great question and one that's been asked. Uh, if I were to answer, all I'm gonna say is I hope the people who remember Skip Bertman remember that he worked hard, tried his best to do and work for the players. He still knew the player till the day he died, because I still know and socialize with so many players from my time. And I think it's great that that's the way it is. I hope people will remember that. And yeah, we've had some championships, but that's not all. They were. I made them. I hope they remember I made them into men, and they improved their being a son, a brother. They improved at those things, and now they're married with kids. And I hope they remember some of the things that I taught them.
Coach, this has been a tremendous honor, and just thank you so much for coming on this podcast. And I just hope I can, someday soon make it down to Baton Rouge and just shake your hand and get a picture with you, because this has been everything a boy from the South has ever dreamed of, just interviewing you.
Thank you very much.